I wanted to respond to tonight's debate, January 7th, New Hampshire ABC debate. Kind of want to work backwards. And, the closing statements for everyone was pretty interesting. Everyone had their what they'd be doing, having fun, watching football. Newt Gingrich said basketball, and they're like, "Oh no, it's football." But Ron Paul gave his kind of nerdy answer that he'd be reading a book on economics, and everyone laughed, but they knew it was true, and they know that this is a guy that understands economics and is a guy that is serious about it. And then Jon Huntsman gave his answer, which was so politician-y. It's crazy. Everything, like everyone, they joke about Mitt Romney being the plastic man, but like Jon Huntsman is that to like the 100th degree. So then, working way back before that, some of the stuff that they're talking about, how they're going to build jobs, and what they're going to do. Really, they're all talking about these plans and these different things that they're going to do to create jobs, and they're just talking around the issue of why we're losing jobs. And if you're like me, over the last 10 years, you've seen your wages kind of stay the same or go down a little bit, depending on what field you're in. But then you've seen your purchasing power go down so much. So, like, our money is worth so much less. And until a presidential candidate's going to address the reason why our money is worth less, it's like, yeah, we're having a lot of problems with jobs, and, the middle class is hurting. I don't really care what Mitt Romney's going to do about savings for the middle class if the inflation keeps going up over and over again because the Federal Reserve prints money and makes my money worth nothing. So, really all their answers, I could care less, except what, Ron Paul says. Basically, you have to understand why the economy is the way it is. We have crushing debt and what that's doing to us, and how we're printing money, trying to bail ourselves out, and we're making things worse, just like Japan made their economic crisis worse by trying to print money and get out of their debt. Going back before that, kind of dealing with some of the military things, what's interesting is I heard a lot of people kind of back off their rhetoric on start a war with Iran tomorrow. And it's very interesting. And it was really some of the softest rhetoric in any debate, except for Perry saying that he's going to send troops back into Iraq. And, they're discussing now when they would bring troops home. So I think Ron Paul's been successful in moving the debate his direction. Everyone, except for Perry, that is talking about when they're going to draw troops down, what they can do to better relations with Iran. And overall, I think his campaign is winning the debate, moving people closer to what he believes than what they believe. And on that note, with the military, I thought he had the best line of the debate by far when Gingrich said, well, I was drafted and I had a wife and a kid. And Ron Paul was like, I had a wife and 2 kids. I served. And man, that was a great line. So, I think that pretty much put to rest the issue whether Ron Paul knows what he's talking about when it comes to military families and putting them in harm's way and setting them to do things that aren't really protecting America. Going back before that, man, they spent a lot of time on like gay marriage and the whole contraceptive issue that Rick Santorum was backing off of. But it's an issue that, he's kind of bringing up, and, how he ties different things that he holds as a Catholic, he ties it to his political beliefs, and basically saying that the government should enforce things that are moral. And clearly, if you've seen how well the war on drugs has gone and how the prohibition of alcohol went in America, when you attempt to legislate morality, you cause humongous problems for the nation. And really, that's why we came to America, to get away from governments that were trying to legislate morality. And here he is trying to legislate morality once again. When it comes to contraceptives, it's not really about privacy. He thinks that people that aren't married shouldn't be having sex, and the government should do everything it can to make laws that people can't do it. And the same thing with homosexuality. He thinks that the government should have laws basically saying you can't do that, because that's what he believes morally, so the government should do what he thinks is moral. And it goes back to his issue that, it's not whether we have a big government or small government, it's what kind of big government we have. And that's really the problem I've had with Rick Santorum in general, that looking at his record, he thinks he knows what kind of big government is best. It's not a matter of all big government leads to big problems. It's the idea, if we have the right big government, then we can fix everything. And I thought Mitt Romney did a lot of dancing, talking about nothing, and really the only person he took a shot at was Jon Huntsman, which I didn't really have a problem with because of the whole this new video thing that came out where it's criticizing Jon Huntsman, but it's like talks about his adopted daughters, and then the media decries it like, oh, this awful thing that Ron Paul put out. Well, if they would do a little bit of journalism, like the shout out to the great Ben Swann, they would see that the video that they're decrying for Ron Paul, or a Ron Paul supporter for putting out, Jon Huntsman himself put out to draw attention to himself. So, it's such a goofy issue. And, I've already spoken to the newsletter issue, and they go to attack Ron Paul, but then they go to make anyone that supports Ron Paul to seem like an idiot. And it's just not the case. And, I'm a new Ron Paul supporter. I didn't support him in the last election cycle, but I have to say that as I've met more and more Ron Paul supporters, they're some of the most informed people out there. They're very diverse, but let me tell you, they are tuned in. They watch debates, they read news articles. They know all about the good and bad of Ron Paul. They know his shortcomings, but they want him as their president. No one else even comes close. And, that's my takeaway from the debate. They're talking about Romney won the debate, and the media is pushing him so hard. But, as this long primary season ahead of us is underway, just watch Ron Paul. Like he said, he's getting closer to Mitt every day.